This season at Blind Frog Ranch, something deeper than gold shimmered in the Utah desert: concern. As new episodes unfolded beneath the familiar Oka light, fans found themselves less absorbed by the treasure and more captivated by the man who had dedicated his soul to finding it, Duane Ollinger. For years, he had been the heartbeat of the ranch, the one who faced storms, sinkholes, and science itself to unlock the mystery buried beneath the mud. But this season, that heartbeat felt different. Fainter, uneasy. The uneasy beginning from the very first episode. Sharp-eyed fans noticed a shift. Duane's voice, once booming with grit and confidence, carried a quieter gravity. His steps seemed slower, his shoulders a little heavier, as though the land itself had begun pressing back. The season began not with triumphant energy, but with a subdued sense of fatigue, an aura that clung to both man and mission. The crew could feel it too. Chad, his son, often looked over at him during their excavations, a flicker of worry hidden beneath his usual adventurous enthusiasm. There were moments where Duane stood at the edge of a pit, staring into the darkness longer than necessary, as though he wasn't just measuring its depth, but feeling it reflect his own. The desert air was dry as ever, but tension hung thick around the ranch. Something unseen had changed, and even before fans heard the whispers online, they felt it in their bones. The ranch that drains the living Blind Frog Ranch has always been strange, not just for its minerals, but for the energy that seems to pulse through it. Some call it magnetic interference. Others believe it's the consequence of ancient technology or trapped energy beneath the surface. Yet this season, the odd vibrations appeared to turn personal. Equipment malfunctioned at random, and electromagnetic readings spiked without explanation. The lights in the underground tunnels flickered like dying stars. A new strain of metallic mud was discovered that seemed to eat through tools within hours. But amid the chaos, the true disturbance seemed to settle within Duane himself. He wasn't merely tired, he looked drained. Fans speculated about health issues. Online forums buzzed with theories, some grounded in science, others in supernatural lore. Was the radiation from the strange rocks finally catching up with him? Was the constant exposure to underground gases taking a toll? Or was it something that couldn't be measured? A psychic exhaustion from years of wrestling with a land that didn't want to be conquered. The emotional weight of a dream for Duane. The ranch has never been just land. It's been his personal crucible, a dream fueled by belief that something incredible lies beneath the surface. But dreams come at a cost. Throughout the season, fans could see that cost written in the lines around his eyes. He had lost friends to skepticism, family moments to obsession, and perhaps parts of his own peace to the endless pursuit of proof. Treasure hunting on television might look thrilling, but it's an emotional marathon in isolation. Each time the ground yielded another clue, a fragment of gold, an anomaly in the scan, Duane didn't beam with the same joy as before. Instead, his expression was thoughtful, sometimes distant. It was as though he had begun questioning not just what he was looking for, but why he was still looking. And yet, even in his quietest moments, there was defiance. The kind that only comes from a man who stared into darkness and refused to step back. Fathers resolve it. The heart of the concern lies the bond between Duane and Chad. This season showcased their relationship more intimately than ever. There were no grand speeches, but their unspoken exchanges said everything. When Duane stumbled during a climb, Chad's quick hand was there. When Chad doubted the safety of diving into unstable caverns, Duane's eyes gave that old look, the one that said, "We've come too far to turn around now." But there was also something softer in their dynamic, a reversal of roles. The son had become the caretaker in subtle ways. Fans picked up on it instantly. Chad checking equipment twice, gently suggesting breaks, giving his father space when fatigue crept in. It was love disguised as logistics. For many viewers, it hit close to home. The show, long known for its mystery, had evolved into something more intimate this season. A story about legacy, mortality, and the fragile persistence of a dream passed from father to son. The Whispering Cavern mid-season, the narrative turned darker. Deep underground, the team uncovered a chamber that hummed with low-frequency sound waves. Their instruments went haywire, and static swallowed their radios. But what unsettled everyone wasn't the malfunction, it was Duane's reaction. He seemed transfixed, like he could hear something the others couldn't. When he finally stepped back into the light, he looked pale, almost dizzy. Fans online paused the footage, replaying the moment frame by frame, convinced something unseen had brushed against him. Afterward, he spent more time in quiet contemplation, sketching maps, revisiting old coordinates, and pacing the perimeter of the ranch alone. Whatever he felt in that cavern, it lingered. The man who once commanded the land now seemed haunted by it. The storm and the silence. Then came the storm episode, the one that broke the fandom's heart. A violent electrical storm swept over the ranch, cutting power to the site. Cameras caught flashes of lightning illuminating Duane's silhouette as he worked desperately to secure equipment. Chad begged him to take cover, but Duane refused to abandon the dig. For hours, they battled the wind and the mud until a metallic beam collapsed, narrowly missing him. When morning came, the sky cleared, but Duane was visibly shaken. His exhaustion wasn't just physical anymore, it was spiritual. He sat alone beside the wrecked site, staring at the fractured earth, and fans couldn't help but sense the parallel. He was as broken and determined as the land he sought to heal. After the storm, he spoke less on camera. The focus shifted to the team, while Duane appeared mostly in the background, watching, guiding, but rarely leading. It was as though the land had demanded its silence, and he had finally granted it. Fans speak out. The concern from fans wasn't just speculation, it was heartfelt. Online communities that once obsessed over gold maps and anomalies turned their attention to Duane's well-being. Posts titled "Is Duane okay?" flooded discussion boards. Some offered prayers. Others shared personal stories of burnout and sacrifice. Many longtime viewers described Duane as the embodiment of perseverance, the man who refused to quit when logic said otherwise. But even the strongest spirit, they noted, can only carry so much. Blind Frog Ranch had become both his passion and his weight. What made this concern feel different was the collective empathy. It wasn't gossip. It was gratitude wrapped in worry. Fans wanted him to rest, to recover, to let the mystery wait for a while. After all, what is treasure worth if the man who found it loses himself in the process? Echoes in the desertes. The season neared its end. The show's tone shifted once more. The final episode didn't end with a cliffhanger about riches or alien metals. It ended with an image. Duane standing at sunset, hat in hand, staring at the horizon. The light was gold, yes, but fleeting. That moment said more than words ever could. It wasn't defeat, it was reflection. For the first time in years, he wasn't chasing, he was listening. To the wind, to the silence, to the truth that sometimes the greatest discoveries aren't beneath the ground, but within the soul that digs. The closing credits rolled without fanfare. Just the sound of desert air, soft and endless. The meaning behind the Mystery Duane story, this season wasn't about finding gold. It was about rediscovering the measure of endurance. The world saw a man who risked everything to unearth something extraordinary. But those who looked closer saw a human story about weariness, resilience, and faith in the unseen. The ranch has always mirrored its keeper. Vast, mysterious, sometimes broken, but alive with stubborn hope. It pushes, resists, and humbles anyone who tries to master it. And Duane, whether he realizes it or not, has become part of that legend. In the end, perhaps that's the real treasure of Blind Frog Ranch. Not the gold or artifacts buried in the mud, but the testament of one man's relentless pursuit of wonder. Even through pain, fatigue, and the creeping edges of doubt, Duane remains the soul of that strange land, a reminder that some mysteries are meant not to be solved, but to be lived. This season on Mystery at Blind Frog Ranch, concern pulsed through the fanbase like an electric current under the Utah soil. For years, Duane Ollinger had been the unshakable backbone of the show, the man whose grit, faith, and drive turned a family treasure hunt into a televised phenomenon. But something about this season felt different. The light in Duane's eyes dimmed a little, the edges of his determination seemed worn, and the camera captured a side of him that fans had rarely seen. A man carrying the weight of a dream that had begun to weigh too heavy. Shadows over the ranch this season opened not with triumph, but with tension. The Utah desert, once bathed in golden light and promise, appeared colder, harder, almost sentient in its silence. Viewers noticed it immediately: the tone of the crew, the cautious pacing, the subtle fatigue hanging in Duane's shoulders. The ranch, long believed to be charged with strange energy, seemed to reflect that burden right back at its owner.